Yes, it- Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3, 6:18. Sabhava kim na jivanti, tasya kim na susanti uta, na chadanti na mehanti, ingrame pasavo pare. Translation. Do the trees not live? Do the bellows of the blacksmith not breathe all around us? Do the beasts not eat and discharge semen? Purport. A materialistic man of the modern age will argue that life, or a part of it, is never meant for discussion of philosophical or theological arguments. Life is meant for the maximum duration of existence for eating, drinking, sexual intercourse, making merry, and enjoying life. The modern man wants to live forever by the advancement of material life. And there are many foolish theories for prolonging life to the maximum duration. But the Srīmad Bhāgavatam affirms that life is not meant for so-called economic development or advancement in materialistic science for the hedonistic philosophy of eating, mating, drinking, and merrymaking. Life is solely meant for tapasya, for purifying existence, so that one may enter into eternal life just after the end of the human life. The materialists want to prolong life as much as possible because they have no information of the next life. They want to get the maximum comfort in this present life because they think conclusively that there is no life after death. This ignorance about the eternity of the living being and the change of covering in the material world has played havoc in the structure of modern human society. Consequently, there are many problems multiplied by the various plans of modernized man. The plans to solve the problems of society have only aggravated the trouble. Even if it is possible to prolong life more than 100 years, advancement in human civilization does not necessarily follow. The Bhagavatam says that certain trees live for hundreds and thousands of years. At Vrindavan, there is a tamarind tree, a place known as immortal, which is said to have existed since the time of Lord Krishna. In the Calcutta Botanical Garden, there is a banyan tree said to be older than 500 years, and there are many such trees all over the world. Gauri Sankacharya lived only 32 years, and Lord Chaitanya lived 48 years. Does it mean that the prolonged lives of the above-mentioned trees are more important than Shankara or Chaitanya? Prolonged life without spiritual value is not very important. One may doubt that trees have life because they do not breathe. But modern scientists like Bose have already proved that there is life in plants, so breathing is no sign of actual life. The Bhagavatam says that the bellows of the blacksmith trees are sounding, but that does not mean that the bellows has life. The materialists will argue that life in the tree and the life in the man cannot be compared because the tree cannot enjoy life by eating powerful creatures or by enjoying sexual intercourse. In reply to this, the Bhagavatam asks whether other animals, like the dogs and hogs, living in the same village with human beings, do not eat and enjoy sexual life. The specific utterance of Srīmad Bhāgavatam in regard to other animals means that persons who are simply engaged in planning a better type of animal life consisting of eating, breathing, and mating are also animals in this case. A society of such polished animals cannot benefit suffering humanity, for an animal can easily harm another animal or rarely do good. Omegan Timidandisya Janana Shalakya Samina Tasmi Shidave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manovisam Sapitam Navutale Swayarupa Gadamayam Dadati Swavedantikam Vanchikalpa Tiruvishya Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavanivyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadha Sivasiri Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So you can see here that the comparison is being given with simple forms of life in order to reveal the subtlety of a hedonistic life. We're from Australia, so we have the classic yobo example. If you don't know what a yobo is, it's your classic Australian gentleman, and they speak with a twang, and they're never discussing anything very deep. They Prabhupada even said philosophy is not for these people. You'll take over Australia with prashadam. And usually it's just small talk of useless subjects. It's all on the surface level, surface interaction. So what happened in sport, how's the weather going, politics, etc. Everything very surface level, nothing deep. And the goal of life for such a person is just eating for enjoyment, for sustenance, or sex life, to increase sex life more and more. Just eating. You may have heard of, I think it was Romans or Greeks, some like royalty. And what they'll do, they'll eat, like big feast. And because the whole thing is just tantalizing the taste buds, they would vomit all of it out. They'll force to vomit themselves, everything out, and then eat again, just to like keep the flow of enjoying the senses going. This is the mentality that takes place when it comes to just hedonistic enjoyment. In terms of sex life, to increase it more and more, and Bhāgavatam describes it as momentary enjoyment, working so hard, and then just for a moment of enjoyment. And we hear of celebrities, of those of the rich and famous, trying to increase sex life in the most degraded ways, which we will not discuss in the Bhagavatam. You can just look it up. It's not a problem. And, even people who are, say, more sattvic, you could say, going to yoga classes, wearing the tight clothing. Why do they do yoga? It seems like very sattvic. But no, Prabhupada criticized only to have better sex life. Living for the satisfaction of the genitals, being pulled here and there just for the genitals. So yes, eating, sleeping, sex life, having a roof over your head, this is all, that's all life's about for such a gentleman, such a yoga. And it's all due to this, you've heard of the philosophy YOLO, you only live once. They think that the body is the self. They think there is no soul, there's no karma. Just enjoy your senses to the max. Just whatever you want to do, you go full on. And it doesn't matter who you hurt along the way. Completely infatuated with false ego. And it's all about survival-of-the-fittest, natural selection. Darwin's evolution theory is not a merciful theory. It's really just a combination of matter coming together, and then it's evolving and evolving. So who cares about those who are not so evolved, like the animals? Like, like even children, or men think they are better than women, so we can exploit them for our own interest. Um, so this happens. This is mentioned by Lord Shiva in the fourth canto. Unfortunately, I didn't have the Sanskrit, so I'll read the English. This is Canto 4, chapter 24, text 64. Actually, this verse, it changed my life. I thought my life was already changed by reading the Science of Self-Realization, but I didn't know if I continue reading Srila Prabhupada's books, it can be turned again. So I remember reading this, and I was shocked. I was at catering. I was in the Melbourne Temple, and then we get sent on catering at this like hellish music festival to serve prasada to the Aussies. And here, Lord Shiva says, "My dear Lord, after creating by your own potency, you enter within the creation in four kinds of forms. Being within the hearts of the living entities, you know them and know how they're enjoying their senses. The so-called happiness of this mature creation is exactly like the bee's enjoyment of honey after it has been collected in the honeycomb." This analogy was explained in the purport, and it is so amazing. So, in the honeycomb, the bees, they collect so much honey, working hard, going to one flower, to another, to another, to another. So they have this full honeycomb full of honey. Unfortunately, after working so hard, every time they try to enjoy that honey, they simultaneously bite or sting another bee. So what does that mean for us trying to enjoy our senses here? It's mentioned the Lord sees this so-called enjoyment taking place. So the idea is that for you to selfishly enjoy your senses, unregulated, outside the scope of Krishna consciousness, for you to do that, someone else has to suffer. Why? Why is there a third world? Because the first world exists. It means they took everything from the third world. Africa, it's still getting plundered for its resources, even though Europe doesn't have any resources. They're just plundering Africa, cobalt, uranium, diamond, coal, so many things. And the people in Africa, even though they have so much resources, they're all suffering in poor. The European imperialist businessmen, they employ guerrilla armies locally there, give them a payment, give them some comfort, so they can, in a rakshasic way, force these poor villagers to work in these mines for nothing, and even do like hideous things, like rape, killing, and starvation, just so we can have very nice food. So this is the nature of sense gratification. Someone else has to suffer. Even like say, for example, um, I remember this is a personal account, but maybe it does exist. It kind of taught me a lesson. Uh, so before I was a devotee, I had a girlfriend, and we worked together in this bar. And across the road from the bar was a 7-Eleven. And regularly, me or my girlfriend would go into 7-Eleven and get something and then come back. So then one day, my girlfriend at the time, she came back with this letter that was given to her by the guy who works at the 7-Eleven. It was this full love letter. Every time I see you come in, my heart skips a beat. I never was always afraid to talk to you, so I finally wrote this letter for you. So you think like, usually like in a normal scenario, you would like calm down and meet the guy and, hey, don't look at it anymore. I'm going to beat you up. But actually a different thought came to mind because I know how this guy feels. You see someone you like, You can't approach him and they're already sort of taken, and there's nothing you can do. You're just lamenting. So I was like, oh, I'm the other guy. I'm the other guy who got the good girl. So I mean, what does that mean in terms of like enjoying and then someone else suffering? So like when you show your love to just one person or like they're with you, no one else can be with them and they can't. They're restricted to exchange love. But when you have an intimate, loving relationship with Krishna, you can also share him with others, and that makes you even more happy. And that makes Krishna also happy. There's no sense of exploitation. No one is hurt like this. This was the amazing thing about it. So when it comes to devotional service or giving pleasure to Krishna centers, no one suffers. Actually, more people enjoy. Like when we go down the street doing Harinam, uh, so many people are enjoying. If you come, like if you do ever join the Brisbane Harinam party on Friday, 5:30, starting at King George Square, you're all welcome to go there. You will see that Brisbane is a place of suffering. That city, everyone is miserable. But then once they just touch or get a glimpse or feel the radiance of the mercy emanating from the devotees chanting Hare Krishna, suddenly they're enlightened. Suddenly they feel like life isn't so bad. And you're chanting Hare Krishna. Krishna is the holy name. You're sort of have an intimate relationship with it. But when you see someone else take up Krishna's name, Krishna's hand into their heart, you feel even more enlightened. But if someone was to take the hand or the heart of your spouse or your girlfriend or boyfriend, like, hey, what are you doing? You're not happy about it. This is how it's supposed to work out. And then when someone sees someone they like and you're with them, they're also not happy. We can see how this example of the honeycomb, it's so powerful given by those two. So sense gratification means someone has to suffer. Someone has to pay. But when we serve the senses of Krishna doing devotional service, everyone is benefiting. Everyone is enjoying life. So this is the purpose of human life. Purpose of human life is not to live on the surface, to be shallow, but introspection, to go deep, to be in depth. Asking the question, who am I? Why am I here? What is my purpose in life? And where do I go after death? Otherwise, there's no chance of happiness, either for you or anyone connected to you that you're trying to make happy. This is tapasya. Tapasya is supposed to lead us to the answer to these questions. Who am I? I am not this material body. I'm an eternal spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. Why am I here? I've forgotten my relationship with Krishna. And what is my purpose? To revive that relationship. Where do I go after death? Well, it depends whether you want to still enjoy sense gratification or you want to give sense gratification to Krishna. Whether you want to serve Maya or Krishna. This is the decision we have to make by the time we die. Otherwise, we'll be following in the footsteps of the stubborn scientists who claim that they can extend life more and more this body. You hear about Walt Disney. He's thinking like, yes, I will live forever. I am so rich. And so he freezes his body from cryogenic, tube or whatever, thinking that, yes, they'll find the cure to death and then they'll, revive me. But Disney's grandchildren and descendants, they're getting upset because this is costing a lot of money. And they sort of want to pull the plug from the fridge. And they're like, no, this is not good. And even if the scientists say, yes, we will extend life for hundreds and hundreds of years, which part they want to extend? The worst part, old age. Why you want to make that longer? Your youth is so less. The amount of time you have in youth is so much less compared to the rest. In terms of old age or middle age, it's so much less. And we just caught up. People caught up. My spiritual master would quote or cite a cartoon from the New Yorker. He likes the New Yorker. They're quite deep. You can even they have a website, the New Yorker, and you can look up all the cartoons. So he talks about one particular cartoon, and it has like 4 sections. In one box, it says too young. The kids can't do anything. Too small. You can't. Sorry, you're too small. You can't do this. And then the next one, it has too much in love. It's a young couple. Just like absorbed in each other's eyes, looking eye to eye and shutting up the world. And then the next section says there's like a family. The kids are running around, and the mom's trying to like catch all the kids and cook and do everything. And whereas the father, he's like got a drill, he's trying to fix everything and like do papers and run to work and trying to have the coffee and. So then the caption says too busy. So we have too young, too much in love, too busy. Then the last square, it's a tomb in a grave, and it says too late. Always distracted. And even Prahlad Maharaj says, even if you live for 100 years, he breaks it down, how we're wasting our time. He says 50 years sleeping, we're sleeping half the time. And then the first 10 years of your childhood, you're completely bewildered. You don't know what's happening, where to go, what to do. So that's also wasted. And then the next 10 years, you're playing as a teenager. You're just in sports with your friends. You're not still thinking about the purpose of life. And then when you're in old age, 20 years, you're just invalid. You can't really get anything done. You can't move. You're slow. So then what is left to spare? It says there's only 10 years left. So precious. So precious, this meaningful life and the time we have and what we're going to use it for. And materialistic society, they are never comfortable. Working so hard, trying to just adjust things all the time. Oh, it's too hot, aircon. Okay, we need to install the aircon. Okay, it's too cold. Okay, we need a heater. Just jumping again, trying to adjust again and again. They describe as, they're just like, again, my spiritual master said, there was a time where suitcases had no wheels. You probably remember that. The suitcases had no wheels, and then when you go to the airport, so all the families would have their suitcases, and they would carry in one hand. And then what would you have to do when your hand got tired? Then you have to put it on the other hand. And then that hand got tired, and you put it on your shoulder. Then there's other shoulder. Then on your head. So you just what they're doing, they're just shifting the karma, just shifting the karma. They can't escape. And Krishna is telling us this material is dukkalaya matasa. It's temporary and full of misery. It's built like there's no hope of it, eternal life here. Identifying the self with matter has brought so much destruction in human society. So much destruction. How many genocides we've heard about in the form of in the world wars with the Nazis, claiming to be the Upamanch, the greater man. And that means, is it from Nietzsche, that philosopher. So then they thought, yes, we can exploit those who are not like us. Colonialism, the European countries, the Spanish, exploiting the whole natives of South America, the Portuguese going around to Southeast Asia, even India, Africa, same thing, just plundering and seeing those native people as lower. And what to speak of India, still India wants their $400 trillion worth back. And they've left so much mess. All these train lines, it was just for extracting more. All these ports, introducing chai and chili. It wasn't there before. Breaking down the Varnashram system, corrupting the Brahmanas. So much they they did to corrupt India. But India is so strong and so wealthy because of this Vedic culture, because of the knowledge that's there in Bhagavad Gita and the Vedas. They they can rise and now becoming an economic power, now becoming an intellectual power, now becoming the yeah the new super nation. And along with that, ISKCON is doing. We can see exploitation, genocide in the form of racism we've seen in America and Africa, South Africa. Even speciesism, 53 billion animals are killed for food in Europe every month. 53 billion. 7 billion humans on the earth. This is like 6 times the population of Europe. Killed every month just for Europe. For people's tongues. They're not really people. There's no soul inside. We can do whatever we want to say about. We are great. And what to speak of, course. Tens to the hundreds of thousands in every country. Children are being killed. For even, again, the most heinous reason. So this is the nature of identifying with matter. My matter combination is better than yours. And that means I can do anything I want to. And they try to adjust. Again, this adjustment is not working when it's done under this material concept of life. For example, the internet, right? Using the internet now. But when it's used for the material purpose, people are feeling like they claim we're going to be so connected. But what's the result for most people who are addicted to the internet? They're very lonely. And usually this addiction to the internet is in the form of pornography. And even those who are producing such content, they also feel an empty inside. The scientists, they claim they're advancing in society by creating a bigger bomb. We can kill more people. And even, why do they have to be so heavy in customs? Because they already messed up the ecosystem when they introduced rabbits and cane toads to the fauna of Australia. So we can see all the adjustments. It's just creating more problems. This is the nature of identifying with matter. Living a life of ignorance, hedonistic life, thinking that eating, sleeping, mating is the goal of life. And here's another example. Even, say for example, you could live forever in this body. Live forever in this body. Young. Still there won't be any happiness. So my spiritual master, he brings up a novel, existential novel. He never cited the name of the book, but it's about a man. He's a scientist, and he develops an elixir. And it should be the elixir of immortality, so you don't die anymore. So then he drinks it, and he gives it to the lab mouse. So then he gives it to the lab mouse, and then he just crushes it. And then when he brings up the crushing machine, then the mouse is regenerated and it's immortal. So then he figured out, yes, I will live forever, for eternity, along with this mouse. So time goes on, and he gets married, he has children, and he has this elixir. He knows he can live forever. My mom. I met my mom. So he thinks he's gonna live forever, but he's wondering, should I give this elixir to my wife? Do I really want to spend the rest of my life with her? And so he doesn't give it to her. And So then everyone's passing away, and he still remains. Now the children, they are also they're upset because they want to inherit the father's wealth, but the father's not dying. So they do so many things like try to poison him and kill him in so many ways. And then he's just disheartened. It's like, oh my God, why are my children trying to kill me? So he just disappears and wanders around like that. Eventually, he ends up at an insane asylum. That's it. And even there's like this nurse who's like, um, tries to, she's very attractive and tries to excite him uh, in a sexual way. And even he's just dull to it all. He's just like, what's the point? No, it's just temporary. And, everyone's just going to die and I'm just going to stay here and this is still well while everyone just passes away. So then, this nurse gets so upset that, it pushes the wheelchair of this man into the ocean. That's it. He's just sick of it. And at the end of the book, this man's body washes up onto shore and he starts walking out again. Because the nature of the soul is an anandamaya vyasa. That's always pleasure seeking. It doesn't matter what the situation is. It needs to seek pleasure. And, so a long life doesn't mean a better life. Prabhupada gives the example of trees living for thousands of years. And, Prabhupada cites the example of Sankacharya and Lord Chaitanya living such short life, under 50 years old. But, you know, changing the world in such a way and attaining the ultimate goal of life. This is what life is for. Life is useless if it's not used for attaining it. Otherwise, there's no life. Just like the breathing of the bellows. It's breathing. It sounds like it's breathing, but it's good as dead. If there's no life. Life means to try and revive our relationship with it. And the materialists may argue, how can you compare us to trees? The trees can't enjoy like we do, like eating nice food and having sex life. But the Bhāgavatam will not let off. It hits hard that even animals are eating and having sex life. Probably better than humans. The animals don't work, they don't study, they don't go to restaurants. You don't see them starving. And then even they have a mating season. They always find a mate, and there's no problem in producing children, raising children. It all happens. Even probably better than us. So Kali, you guys produced a royal version of two-legged animal. We just did schoolies a couple of weeks ago, and you can see the fruits of education. Yes, you are now graduated, and now you can do as you wish. What do they choose to do? Again, hedonistic, drinking, drugs, um, girls are being raped or losing virginity. They even had this adult film star there and just luring young men into doing a film. That happened the year before, and then the government stopped it this year. So even the government think I think it's a bit much. But that's what the result of their modern education. They're not taught what Yeshua Dev is taught. He's taught. He's taught in the fifth canto, fifth chapter, the first verse. My dear boys, of all living entities who are accepting material bodies in this world, one who has been awarded this human form should not work hard day and night simply for sense gratification, which is available even for dogs and hogs that eat stool. One should engage in penance and austerity to attain the divine position of devotion. For such activities, one's heart is purified, and when one attains this position, he attains eternal blissful life, which is transcendental to mature happiness and which continues forever. This is what we're supposed to do with our life. And the only hope is Srīmad Bhāgavatam and Harinamananda. These two things are created in Kali Yuga to give life, to give solace, and to give us the highest thing of Krishna brings. Here is described in the first Canto, 6th chapter, 11th verse. On the other hand, that literature which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc. of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a different creation, full of transcendental words directed toward bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honored. This is the nature of the Bhagavatam, creating a revolution in the consciousness. And this Bhagavatam is citing that one needs to do Harinamananda. Yaktakara Bhagavate Karabharabhara Kali Yuga Dharma Nama Sankirtana. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami confirms that the Bhagavatam is revealing again and again that the essence of Dharma in Kali Yuga is not Sankirtana. It's revealing again and again. You'll see in every canto from the beginning, Harinamana Kirtana, what should a dying man do to chant the holy name? With Ajamil, one should chant the holy name, Tasmat Sankirtana Vishnu, Sarvamanglam Ahata. It's the most auspicious activity in the universe. And even at the end, the last verse, if you want to catch the end of the story, Nama Sankirtanam Yasya, Sarvapapa Pranam. That it's by this congregational chanting that all things are removed, all the stress is removed, and one can bow down to the Supreme Lord Hari. So this is the movement we're a part of. We are part of a preaching movement. Just like Arjuna was told by Krishna that everything is being arranged by me, you just become my instrument of fight. He didn't want to fight. He could have just no, Krishna, if it's all done by you, I'll sit back, sleep, you do it all. No. Surrender means activity. Surrender means carry out the order of Krishna. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us the order to distribute love of God, even though we're not qualified. He's empowering us. It's a movement of empowerment. Just by connecting, you can be the beacon of mercy. We see this on Harina. When people are fired up to join the Harina, suddenly they become preachers. Recently, if you're connected to me on social media, either Instagram or Facebook or WhatsApp, I ran into this, it's a comedy sketch by an American comedian. Her name is Zainab Johnson. So she talks about, I saw a parade of people coming together wearing orange, Hare Krishna. And then within the whole sketch, she said Hare Krishna so many times. And her description of her experience is exactly as if Harinam Rishi came to try and make her chant and dance. Same moves, like Vishnujan, he makes people do the Swami step. She thinks it's like a dance move from the Bronx. And then they say, okay, now your turn. And she's thinking, well, I'm Muslim, how can I do it, But she wants to be nice as well. She likes it, but she's thinking, I don't want to be converted. It's like an amazing account. She literally is just preaching on stage. She said the holy name, and she didn't say we're all bad. She said we're having a great time. So what an empowerment. She didn't intend. She just got connected just by, the devotees standing and dancing around her. She thought she was not being converted, but she's been meditating on so much that she even wrote it in a set of jokes. That's meditation on the holy name. That's meditation on devotee. And this is like a Muslim person. She don't claim to be a devotee, but no, she's preaching. What to speak of us who have embraced Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the inner chambers of our hearts, who want to please him, who want to show our love for him, to actually experience Vrindavan. So it is the marathon. And Prabhupada pushed book distribution so much, you could say even more than Harina. Why is that? Because the books tell you to go on hike. If he just pushed the Harinam more than the book distribution, then if the book distribution is put in the background or even forgotten, then uh, automatically, like say we lose interest in the Harinam as well, it cannot be revived. So if the books are lying around all over and there's no more ISKCON, someone will start it up again. Someone will go out there and chant Hare Krishna. This devotee, Vishnujan, he started Harinam Rishi. He started doing Harinam before he met with us. Him and his friends were into playing musical instruments, he used to make different drums and djembes. And every night they used to get together and, they were into different philosophies, Shaman, Zen, anything. And they would do this thing where maybe they'll smoke something and then just play drums and music all night. They found Prabhupada's books and they found this mantra, the Hare Krishna mantra. They were chanting different mantras. And he started playing the drum and chanting this mantra and he just stuck to it. This mantra is there. So then him and his friends would do Harinam. They would go on the streets, play different instruments, violin, tubas, whatever, so many instruments, cymbals, and they'll do Harinam, chanting the Maha Mantra. And he even went as far to make a mridanga out of wood. He saw the picture of it and he just made it. So then they went to what's called a rainbow festival. It's like a hippie festival in Croatia. And devotees go there to also preach. So then they're coming down through the festival and devotees approach him, oh, are you from Gautama? Are you this? He's like, I don't know, man. We just can't Hare Krishna, And then Vishnujan, they invited him to the tent where they do kirtan all night and serve halava. Vishnujan was telling us that he went 20 times to take more halava. His food was so tasty, And then the devotees saw he was very interested and they invited him to a summer retreat in Croatia with Sachinanda Swami and Bhakti-Tirtha Swami. And he said he was very shy. He was just on the outside. But he remember seeing Bhakti-Tirtha Swami there. So that's why this book distribution is so important. That's why this Harinam is so important. They go side by side. Because not only are we going to preach in the form of giving the book, but we're going to show you what the book is doing. It's trying to show you what it looks like. Otherwise it's like, wow, what is this Sankirtana? You see pictures, doesn't really give the real essence. But then when you see it in real life and you're affected by that, then it gives you inspiration to investigate further. And you may say, well, many people have taken books, but they're not reading. Yes, that's why you have to go on a high note. Put the transcendental sound vibration out there so they become purified and qualified to dive into the philosophy. Give them prashad, and we should have as many Govindas as there is McDonald's and KFCs and Burger King on every corner so people can get prashad. So we're still in the pioneering stage. You may think, like, how can I be part of this revolution? You all have connections to people that most of the preachers like myself or even the sannyasis cannot reach to. At work, family, friends, your neighbors. You can connect with them. And it doesn't need to be like the Gita you have to give it. Small book, Protection Yoga, is very powerful. Can and Be Happy is very powerful. What to speak of this book, Spiritual Yoga, is so heavy, but people have to change their life. My favorite small book is Master's Gift. It's all based on like the 6th and 7th canto. And what I like about it is that it has all these beautiful analogies that paint pictures in your mind, even though it's like very strong philosophical points. I say it like this. And people love to take it. So Prabhupada knows the potency of this transcendental literature, Srīmad Bhāgavatam. This transcendental sound vibration of Harinam Sankirtan, and we're a part of it. We're gonna follow Arjuna and fight in the battle against Kali Yuga by somehow getting people in touch with Krishna. And you can do it. You have some influence, some sphere of influence. Don't be afraid. This is what we're a part of. This is the glory available for us. Otherwise, if we sort of just sit back We won't experience the next Krishna consciousness. We'll be a miserable devotee. So we have to be a blissful devotee. And if you cannot go on the front line, we're not asking to go on the street. We're not asked like in terms of book distribution. Harinam, I mean, it's still a bit scary, but once you get into it, you forget everything. So take a leap of faith. But yes, let's pray to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Please empower me. Please give me the fearlessness to somehow step out there and enter into someone's life and change it. Because they are miserable out there. They got nothing for them. Just a life of suffering, even if they live forever. Hare Krishna. Canto Bhāgavatam ki jai, Sri Harinamananda Sankirtan ki jai. We'll leave the first one. Comments and questions.
All good, Prabhu. Thank you so much for your time. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Everyone agrees.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. That's a wonderful class.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. That was a wonderful class. Hari Bol.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.